Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Van Wezel Performing Arts Hall for our special announcement. I will give you some quick introductions. Darrell Ayers, Vice President of Education from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C., Mayor Suzanne Atwell, and Superintendent Lori White from Sarasota County Schools. Darrell will speak first, followed by the mayor and then the superintendent, and then we will open it up for questions. Thank you all for coming, and it's nice to have such a great turnout.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. It's great to be with you today. It's a beautiful day here in the state of Florida and the city of Sarasota. I am bringing greetings from Kennedy Center Chairman David Rubenstein and Kennedy Center President Michael Kaiser. I'm just going to cut right to the chase and say we are proud to announce that Sarasota has been selected as the 6th site for the Kennedy Center's Any Given Child initiative. Now, I know we're here today for the announcement, but I did want to say we at the Kennedy Center feel honored that this community decided to apply for this program. From our perspective, it's very important that the first group of communities selected for the Any Given Child program have the greatest assets and the best potential for success. And based on everything we've read, everyone we've met, everything we've heard, and everything we've seen, I believe this can be a very successful endeavor for all concerned, for Sarasota, for the Kennedy Center, for the nation, and most importantly, for the children. Now, Any Given Child was conceived by Kennedy Center President Michael Kaiser as a way for a community to work together in an economical way to use the existing arts education resources and the appropriate ones from the Kennedy Center to ensure that every child has the arts as part of a complete education. Now, in the first phase of the program, we as a group take a snapshot, a survey of the community to determine what's currently happening in arts education in Sarasota. Once that information is gathered through the work of the local community arts team, we analyze the results together, looking at where the resources are currently available and where there are gaps. After the analysis, the community arts team and Kennedy Center representatives work to create a plan for arts education based on existing arts education resources and those of the Kennedy Center. Now, this plan, generally scheduled for 3 to 5 years, becomes a roadmap for arts education for the community. Now, this is not a cookie-cutter plan. It's unique to this specific community. Next, during the implementation phase, the Kennedy Center continues to be part of the process. This is not what we call a drive-by consultancy. We are here to help make this program a success, and one of the goals of this program is sustainability. But ultimately, Any Given Child is about providing access and equity to the arts for all children, kindergarten through 8th grade. The arts are part of who we are, and in this 21st century where we talk a lot about appropriate work skills, creativity, imagination, innovation, the arts are central to these concepts. Now, Sarasota will be the 6th Any Given Child, joining Sacramento, California, Portland, Oregon, Springfield, Missouri, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. In the coming years, these communities and additional ones will serve as examples for other forward-looking communities in the United States. Barbara Shepard, the Director of National Partnerships at the Kennedy Center, and Deb Broska, Senior Arts Consultant for the Kennedy Center, will be working directly with the Community Arts team beginning this fall. Now, some people probably ask, why Sarasota? Now, there are many reasons. First, the quality of the application, and kudos to Robert Warren for pulling it all together. But also was the overwhelming support from the Superintendent Lori White and from Mayor Suzanne Atwell. I also wanted to acknowledge the former Mayor Kelly Kirshner, who was part of the original application for his support of this, City Mayor Robert Bartolotta, Dr. Paul Hersey and Norman Orlansky from the Van Wezel Foundation, Dr. Lori Stryker of the Patterson Foundation, and Mary Bensel, Executive Director of the Van Wezel. Thank you for your support of this application. But also, it's the positive attitude of this community towards the arts and arts education. I had mentioned the number of arts organizations that in this community. It is just astounding the amount of arts going on in this community and just the quality of the arts. I know we'll be seeing the Suzanne Farrell Ballet Company. We'll be visiting the Kennedy Center this fall, and we hope that that's the beginning of many other things with Sarasota. Now, President Kennedy said that we will be remembered not for our defeats in battle or politics, but for our contribution to the human spirit. And the arts are central to developing the human spirit. So we look forward to working with you and contributing to the development of the human spirit of young people throughout Sarasota, and for any given child Sarasota to become a shining example to the nation. Thank you. I'd now like to turn it over to Mayor Atwell.
Hard act to follow. Woo, this is, of course, being in the Van Wezel, the mics are going to be beautiful. I tell you, I can't, this is such a great honor to live in a city that is now going to be partnering with the Kennedy Center. I arrived here about 20 years ago from Washington, D.C. I lived about a half a mile from the Kennedy Center, and I brought my children to performances thinking that this is what you do, and how wonderful that they've followed me to Sarasota. And that is extremely meaningful to this community. We need to understand, we talk a lot about diversification of the economy, all the arts that we have in this community. Now we're going to, the rubber is going to meet the road here when we are going to pay attention to the K through 8th grade students at their most opportune time to learn, to have access, to nurture their talents with this plethora of organizations that we have in town. It's overwhelming. And I'm trying to keep in touch with all that. And I know a lot of you are here today. So this is extremely important to the city of Sarasota, to the Van Wezel, to the school board, to everybody that is serious about investing in their children, about getting more young families to move here, that it's not just for certain aspects of leisurely retirement, that we have good schools, we have good arts education now, and this is truly, truly great access. And the cachet that we have now with partnering with the Kennedy Center is extraordinary. So I am so proud to represent the City Commission, the City of Sarasota, as your mayor, and thank you so much.
You know, I'm a big believer in the power of relationships and collaboration. I think particularly during difficult times, and I think we're all feeling the times we are struggling to how do we continue to sustain the quality of programs, and even more than that, how do we improve the quality of the programs that we have available to our children in this community. This is another example of how we see partnering with, even at a national level, can bring more resources to our community that allow us to continue to move forward even when there's challenges of fewer resources. We have a common set of values in this community that says the arts are important for everyone, not just for some, but for every child. And that core value moves us forward as we continue to find ways. How do we improve the quality of those experiences that happen every day in our classrooms? And how do we give every child access to the wonderful resources we have in this community? It will serve our students well academically. We know the research is clear on this. But it also serves our children well in terms of the quality of their lives. Not just in the short term, but forever. I think that says a lot about who we are as a community, and I look forward to the power of this new relationship that will continue to add value to what we have to offer to our children. Thank you.
I'll moderate. And I didn't even introduce myself, but I got that. I am Robert Warren. I'm the Director of Education and Community Engagement here at the beautiful Van Wezel Performing Arts Hall. All of that was without notes, ladies and gentlemen. Impromptu. Brilliance, brilliance. Shh, don't tell them. If there are any questions, I will repeat the question and hand the microphone off to the appropriate person. But if there are none, okay. Did you all hear that?
Yeah, the plan, each of these times that we work in a different community, the plan becomes unique to the individual community because of the resources that exist here. It's about leveraging what's already happening in a community. And one of the things here in Sarasota, there are so many outstanding arts organizations that are already doing wonderful work in the schools all throughout this whole county. Sometimes, though, when you look at what's going on across a county, though, there are some schools that get more resources than other schools, and there may be some schools that don't get certain resources for a whole wide variety of reasons, and that's not the issue here at hand. The issue at hand is how can we then provide equity and access across the entire school system. So it's about leveraging those resources in the community and then putting appropriate Kennedy Center resources there. Make sense?
Yes.
Hear that? She was asking about funding at the federal level for arts education and those kinds of things. Yes and no. There is funding. Kennedy Center has received federal funding in the past, and that has changed significantly. There's, as she mentioned, there's a bill before Congress to eliminate arts education funding across the United States in federal funding, shall we say, specifically. That's a significant change. It will not impact this particular program because this is a very important program for us, because we think this program provides an example of how communities can work together collaboratively across a community to ensure arts education. So in the long term, we're going to be here for 3 or 4 years no matter what the federal funding is. We have other sources through some of the wonderful foundations with whom we work, as well as private giving and corporate foundation support. So we'll be here for the long haul.
Yes, ma'am, with the beautiful red hair.
Darrell, can you speak to how this has worked in the other communities that the program already is involved with, and how the mayor and the city and the schools all joined with us here? So many of us here from the arts community today.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, this is a relatively new program for Kennedy Center. One of the challenges that Michael Kaiser had put forth to the Education Department is saying, how can you better use all of your arts education resources across a particular community? Because what we have seen over the last almost 40 years now that the Kennedy Center has been in existence, sometimes there's one program that we're working in this particular community, and then we're over in another program working in this community. We're working out in this part of the country, but we're not working in this part of the country. It was trying to look at all of those different resources and putting those all together. So, sorry, I lost your question. Oh, yeah, how's it work in Sacramento? Let me give you an example. Sacramento was our first city. This has only been about 2 years now, coming up on our second year relative to the program. And the idea is that we survey and gather all the information about what's going on as far as arts education, what's going on in the schools, what arts teachers there are, whether there's music teachers, visual arts teachers, what's going on in the particular schools relative to that, and then what's happening as far as arts education from the various, if it's the symphony orchestra or if it's the ballet company, where they're working. The surveys that we've done gathering this information, for example, when we were in Sacramento, after we had gathered all the information, we found out that in Sacramento only 15% or less of the students were receiving any kind of arts education in that particular community. It was a little astounding. The mayor in that community, the superintendent in that community, didn't realize it was that bad. The other thing that they found out in that particular community is that the symphony orchestra was working in the 5th grade. They were providing resources to the 5th grade. The ballet company was providing resources, but they were providing them for the 5th grade. And the theater company was providing resources for the 5th grade. So it was very simple for them to just go one grade level below. One group took the 4th grade, one group took the 5th grade, one group took the 6th grade. So they were able to then provide better access and better equity across all the different resources. That's been interesting. And also what we found for some of the other communities, it allowed the funding community to get a better sense of what they're supporting across the whole community as far as arts education. They felt more comfortable. What we found is they felt more comfortable about how their money is being used across a particular community because there's a unified plan then, rather than just the symphony orchestras over here working in 3 or 4 schools, the ballets over here in 3 or 4 schools, and it's kind of a little bit hit and miss. So the idea is that the funding community goes, gee, this makes sense now. We're willing to add more. Some communities this happen, add more money to what's going on in arts education. We saw that happen already in Sacramento where the funding communities added $200,000 more to arts education this past year, even given all the financial challenges that are going on in our communities. I'll just take it. Yes, sir. Yeah, we're not a funding or agency ourselves. We're just like any other not-for-profit. We're like the Van Wezel Center. We're also out looking for funds ourselves. What we do bring is resources, and we bring expertise in this area of surveying, of doing audits, and working with the community. So not specifically dollars. Yes, sir.
I think we've devoted a lot of time and energy to that discussion, and how we can also access the organizations in different ways. How do we leverage technology? How do we kind of think outside of the box? So I know there's been some work with through the Patterson Foundation, holding some symposiums, so we're speaking the same language. So there's an understanding in the arts organizations about the standards that we need to be aligned with and how we can demonstrate to our teachers that alignment. How do we make the curriculum connections to the arts? So there's a tremendous amount of work that has occurred. And I think there's a lot more work to be done. So during a time where all organizations, including the school district and the arts organizations, have depleted resources or strained resources, how do we think differently, more collaboratively, to continue to improve that access to the arts? So I think it's an ongoing conversation, and I think the data that we might receive through this partnership will give us lead us to more directions of how we can find new ways for that partnership to work.
And I just reiterate that. I think to what you said and what Lori said, this raises the bar. With this partnership with the Kennedy Center, we're on new ground here, and we're going to take this opportunity. We're armed in a very different way with what is happening here right now, and it's going to change the dynamic. So I think that will feed into that we're on a new road now and a new path.
I promised we'd be out by 11:30. We have time for one more question. Anybody? Yes. The question has to do with academic impact of arts education.
When we look at SAT scores, and this is national data, national research, we see higher levels of performance for those students that have been participating in the arts. There's research that shows the arts tend to engage different parts of brain functioning and different ways of thinking. It's not, it can't be just about, oh, we just drill the basic skills. Our graduates need to be able to think in different ways, in innovative ways, in ways that really energize the creativity that we see developed many times through the arts. So I think there's a lot to say that if a society just focuses on those skill sets that are apart from the arts, we're losing a significant part of brain functioning. So that's why it is part of the core. It's not the extra. It is part of what is essential for every child.
That is so true. Before I became a commissioner, I was a psychotherapist in Sarasota and did a great deal of art therapy, and that's exactly right. So much of working with young people and counseling, using art, you send them on a new dimension. They are going to learn differently. They're going to learn, I think it's the ultimate in therapy, the ultimate in looking at other ways of challenges that we all face. And I think it's just a new way of learning, but it has to be highlighted that this is part of the curriculum, not a little extra on Friday, like shop, or in my case, I didn't go to shop. I think I went to sewing class, and I'm not sure what that did to my brain order, but this is very important in another dimension of learning, and we need to take it seriously.
Any closing comments?
I just say one last thing is it's for Kennedy Center, this is a very important approach, a two-pronged approach of both art as a discipline, that students are having the arts as part of music, theater, and dance, but also the ability to take the art and use that to enhance other areas of the curriculum. So it's both about arts as a discipline and arts integration, the two together. You can't really have one without the other, as far as feeling. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you all very much. The press release was embargoed until 12 noon, but we've got copies of it if you want a copy, a paper copy to take with you on your way out. And as is custom with Southern hospitality, the mayor is going to have a special presentation for Darrell Ayers in the grand foyer. You're welcome to stay for that if you would like. Thank you all very much.
Well, the Any Given Child program of the Kennedy Center, this will be our 6th city that we're selecting as part of the Any Given Child program. The program is designed to provide equity and access to the arts for young people in this community. Well, Sarasota was selected for many reasons. One was just a great application. We also had wonderful support from the mayor and from the superintendent, and also just the wealth and quality of the arts organizations, more than 125 arts organizations in this community. So there's just a wealth of opportunities here in Sarasota. Well, Sarasota was selected for many reasons. One was just a great application. We also had wonderful support from the mayor and from the superintendent, and also just the wealth and quality of the arts organizations, more than 125 arts organizations in this community. So there's just a wealth of opportunities here in Sarasota. One of the things that the Any Given Child program is about is building on the resources that are here in the Sarasota community, and then where there's opportunities, the Kennedy Center would bring some of their programs to bear on this community, such as our professional development programs for teachers, our teaching artist program, a whole wide variety of experiences.
It's been a 16-month process to apply to get Sarasota County Schools, the City of Sarasota, and all of the arts organizations selected, or adopted, if you will, by the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. as one of 10 select communities that will be hosted and supported by all of the programs of the Kennedy Center through a new initiative called Any Given Child, which will work to bring total arts experience and access not only in the schools, but out in the community at the different various arts organizations. K through 8 is the focus. Before coming to Sarasota, I worked at the Kennedy Center for 8 years, so I heard Michael Kaiser's idea for creating this Any Given Child initiative, and to show that the arts not only improve the quality for the students, but it actually enhances the entire community and uplifts everything through the process. Well, they take the first 9 months of the program to evaluate everything that the school is already providing and what the local arts organizations also provide to the schools and for the students. And then they identify any holes that are missing to ensure that all kids countywide have access. And then we find a way through this plan. There's 25 community advisors that are made up of the arts community, the elected community, and the business community that say, okay, second graders, there's a void. Let's find a way to fill that void. And then we tap into the funding sources to make it happen. The first thing is that it helps in all subject areas. They get inspired and engaged in the arts, and then they get to improve their SAT scores. It helps eliminate the dropout rate and all these other feel-good things for the school children. But then as a community, we become one of 10 communities in the entire nation that are the role models that show it really works. If you give the kids the best possible education, arts across the board, and every other thing that's being offered in Sarasota County, it raises the level, and hopefully it helps us to attract and retain the best and brightest to our community.
I think it means everything to this community, and to the Van Wezel, it's more about the whole community, but we're very proud to have shepherded this process. But I think it will unite all the arts groups with education and the real profound knowledge the Kennedy Center brings to the education field is such a very ringing endorsement. And the Kennedy Center leads the nation, obviously, in almost everything they do. You talk to any producer on Broadway, they want to be at the Kennedy Center. You talk to anybody in education, the Kennedy Center. So it makes a nice complement, too, with the ballet performing at the Kennedy Center with the Suzanne Company. So it's a wonderful thing. Well, to me, it impacts me greatly because, quite frankly, we have the #1 beach here. Now we have one of the 10 cities in the entire country. And the other wonderful thing is I'm told the vote was unanimous to select Sarasota. So that is quite an honor. Well, I feel it's been wonderful because the Kennedy Center has been a partner in education with the Van Wezel for 13, and I think we're going into our 14th year. And we're very lucky with our new education director, Robert Warren, because he worked at the Kennedy Center before. So he has such a strong tie to that. And it really validates what the Van Wezel means to the whole community, as far as I'm concerned. But it also should mean a lot to everybody else that values arts, education, and quite frankly, what we're trying to do with arts education, besides bring knowledge to children, is also educate a new audience, because we don't want everybody home just watching their televisions and their iPads and everything like that. We want them to come out and experience the most important thing in the world, which is live theater. And through the Van Wezel and our foundation, who has done such great work, I mean, they provide free busing to all of our shows for the children. It means the world. You know, the thing is, the Van Wezel is more than just its school time performances. We have great education programs at night where we have family nights at the theater where an adult can buy a ticket and bring a student for free. And then we have parties afterwards with the cast. And we've been very lucky to have those underwritten. And it's great for a young person to get a chance to see that person up on stage and then have the opportunity to also, then talk to them and get an autograph and get their picture with them. And with our Total Access program, we're working with the disadvantaged families. So I think this is a perfect circle for us.
Oh, it means everything to us because we really support children. As you know, one of our major missions in the foundation is to support children. So when this opportunity came along, being an old Washingtonian as I am, knowing a lot about Kennedy, I was thrilled to death with the opportunity to do this. What a partner they are. They're a great partner. I've had partnerships with them in the past when I was with the National Association of Secondary School Principals, and I can tell you they're a quality organization. There's no doubt that we may be a centerpiece for what could go on for arts education. We need a K through arts education program. As you know, the SAT scores are larger if the people are involved in arts throughout their career and throughout their early childhood. They support the arts later on, so it's a great opportunity for us to help children in an economy where we're experiencing some problems right now. This is a great opportunity to link up with a good partner. Well, there have been a lot of discussions going on for more than a year, and they've come in, and Robert Warren, the director here of education, submitted a large proposal that many of us helped build. That was required, but then they came in and did some interviewing of people throughout the community to see if we were the type of community that they wanted in this project. The wonderful part of this is we could be an example of what you could do in a community our size, and it could go throughout the state of Florida and, for that matter, throughout the nation. I think Kennedy has that in mind. They're going to have a certain number of projects that they sponsor originally, but I think then they'll spin off into a number of other projects. We hope to be that kind of a project. the best, we think, in the country. This is an arts community. When you look around, what other community our size has this kind of an arts opportunity? And now you add in the partnership with Kennedy that's been enlarged into Any Given Child, and what more could you want?
Oh, it's really exciting. It puts us on the national map. I think we're the 6th city in the country to be honored by the Kennedy Center, and that is the premier cultural organization in the world. And to have them partner with us over the next 5 years is really exciting. Oh, absolutely. It's one of we have 2 big assets in this community, our natural resources and our culture and arts. And we all know about it, but by partnering with the Kennedy Center, I think nationwide people are going to know that this is a tremendous place for arts and culture. And more importantly, we're going to be educating another generation. So the future is very bright. I think one of the reasons we were selected is because we have such an extensive education program, and this is going to allow us to go to another level. So we're really happy about it.